If you're looking for a way to send email directly from your database, you don't want to miss this video. I'm going to be going into detail about the Sendgrid block, specifically going into some of the new features that Airtable has unlocked for this. So if that's of interest to you, stick around and let's get into it. Hi, my name is Gareth Pronovost, and I'm the owner at Gap Consulting, where we help you to get organized and automated in your business and life. If that's of interest and you want to learn more about how we do that, check out the links below, swing by our website, and don't miss out on our free Airtable crash course that will get you up to speed quickly inside of Airtable. But without further ado, let's get into the heart of this video, and it is how can we actually send email directly from our database? Now, let's just start off by jumping into my screen and seeing what I've built. I've created a very simple database with two tables. We are tracking contacts as we take them through some sort of lead process, and then we are also tracking payments against those contacts. So the assumption here is that a contact will make multiple payments when they buy our product or service. So in this particular example, I'm imagining a scenario where we have three $500 payments, one payment due every 30 days. So from the time that they start, 500 will be due, then 30 days later, and then 30 days later. And at that point, all $1,500 of the service will have been received. And so then they are in good standing and they do not owe any more money. So that is the assumption that I put in here. So first, let's just talk about how we structure the database. So inside of our contacts, straightforward stuff off the get-go here. We've got a first name and a last name and an email address. Then we're rocking a status here, and we are just tracking where they are in the pipeline. So either they're a lead, or maybe then they move on to the negotiations stage where we are, or they're considering our offer. And then one of two things happens. Either we close them as a client, or we close their lead and they're not interested, right? We're then linking this contact to payments if and only if they make payments. And based on that connection, we're able to build a couple of roll-up fields. We can see when they made that last payment and when they and what their total payments to date are. And so if you're not familiar with the roll-up field, really quickly, it allows us to look at linked relationships and perform some sort of aggregation formula. In this case, for example, I'm looking at the date. And so I'm looking at the date of payments, and I want to bring back the biggest of those. So in this case, you see that there are two payments linked to Gareth. So if I were to drill into the first one, we see that there's a payment date of 5/4. And if I drill into the second one, we see there's a payment date of 6/4. So we can see pretty quickly that 6/4 will be the bigger of the two dates. And so that's why that is rolling up here. Now the other piece here, the other roll-up field, is taking a summation. So we're summing all of the payments that were made with this particular contact. So in this case, we know each payment is $500, and just for verification, we can flip over to payments and see that all three of these payments are $500, but only two of them are attached to me, and one of them is attached to Phineas. So in this case, the roll-up field is performing that sum and getting us that information. Okay, so then we have a little bit of a formula over here. Actually, let's talk about payments remaining first. Since we know that our total amount is $1,500, we also then can track how many payments are remaining. So really quickly, we're using a switch formula here, and we're just saying, hey, look, take the total payments, that is this field right here, this dollar amount, and if it's $1,500, then we owe zero more. There are 0 payments remaining. If it's 1,000 in total, then there's 1 payment remaining, and if it's 500, then there are 2 payments remaining. So this quick and easy switch formula is just doing a little bit of logic and saying, well, I know how much money we received, so I can tell how many more payments are due. And then lastly, we have a payment status. And this is a much more robust formula, and I'll be sure to paste it below if you want to tinker with it and kind of play with it yourself. But essentially, we have a nested if statement. And what we're trying to do here is figure out what is the status of this person. So first and foremost, only if they are a client, that is, if the status of this person is client closed, only then are we going to continue on with this if statement. And then we need to check. And if there was no last payment made, that is, the last payment was blank, then we need to say the payment is due, right? Because they're a client, but we have not received a payment, so they owe a payment. On the other hand, if the total payments is $1,500, that is, they've made all 3 payments, then in this case, they are paid in full. And lastly, if they don't meet these previous conditions, that is, they still owe us a payment, they're not paid in full, and the date of their last payment was a month greater than today, or a month, yes, was with more than 30 days up from today, in that case, then their payment is again due, payment due. And then lastly, if they've made a payment within 30 days from today, then they're in good standing, right? They still owe us another payment, but they don't owe it right now, so they're in good standing. So let's just throw a couple of examples in here. Let's suppose that Ferb here was a closed client and that we had 3 payments received for him. So let's go ahead and recreate this. And I will just make some fake numbers here. And let's say his first payment was on 4/1, 5/1, and then 6/1. So we have 3 potential outcomes plus the null outcome. So a null outcome is there's no information here because they're not a client. Then we have the option that they are paid in full, that is, we've received all $1,500 from them. There's also the option that they owe us a payment. In this case, the last payment here was made on 6/4, June 4th, and as of the recording today, this is July 5th. And so in this case, this person is 30 days, or their last payment was received more than 30 days ago, so they owe us, and so payment due. And then also, in this case, we see that the last payment was made on June 17th, and so while they still do owe us 2 more payments, they are currently in good standing. They don't owe us money today. So that's the logic that's been built into this formula, and that is important because of the way we want to send these emails. So in our scenario, we are imagining that we're only going to send these emails directly from our database under certain conditions. So maybe we do this function, this email function, once a week. Maybe it's once every 2 weeks, whatever our schedule is. But rather than having that be sent through some sort of automated process, we want to go through and manually push that process directly from our database. And if that's the scenario that you have in your particular business, then this is perfect for you. You want to send an email, but only under certain conditions. So let's talk about it. First things first, we need to be on the Pro Airtable plan, and we are going to add the Sendgrid block. Now, if you're not familiar with how to do that, you just go down to install a block here, and if you just do a quick search for Sendgrid, you can see this block here. Now, when you are in the midst of setting it up, it's going to ask you to get into your Sendgrid account and show off your API key. There will be a link provided, and you just need to click that. And once you're inside of your Sendgrid account, you will see a screen that looks exactly like this. Go ahead and click Create API Key in the upper right corner and give this a name. In this example, you see I've named this the Sendgrid block, and I'm using this particular key for that particular function, that block inside of Airtable. Now, it's important to note that when you build this, you will see a screen like this. And when you do get this screen, you will never see this screen again. So don't, just click off of this screen. You need to be sure to keep this open in another tab. That way you have the ability to copy your API key. So this string of characters right here is going to be unique for this particular integration. So go ahead and click it once and it will be copied to your clipboard and you can then paste it in. Once you have that, you can then set up your email. So a couple of things that this email is going to need. It needs to go to a specific person, and we're going to send it to a group all at once. And you might notice, by the way, that in my contacts table, I'm sending the same email. All of the email addresses are mine. That way I will receive all of these. I don't want them to go out and get spammed. So in this case, you need to tell it to look at the table that has your email addresses. So I would not look to my payments table. I would look to my contacts table, which I've done. And now, importantly, we need to tell it what view to look at. If you're not familiar with views, a view in Airtable allows you to slice, filter, hide all of your data depending on the rules that you set up. And the reason that this is so important for this particular block is because I don't want to send an email to everybody, right? Over here, I've got my all records view and I have no filters applied. But when I send this email, I only want to send it to people who are clients who owe us a payment, which is why we built all of this logic over here that says if a payment is due. So we only want to send that email when payment due shows up here. So we can actually apply that filter to our payment email view. So we create a view and we apply a filter as follows. We can go down to our payment status formula and we want it to read payment due. And of course, now only one of these clients is remaining, because if we go back to our all records, we have 5 different clients in our database, but only one of them has a payment due. So when we map our Sendgrid block to our view, we want to make sure that we pick that payment email view so that we're not sending emails to people who don't need to get them. All right. Now, down here, we have the option of sending a to email, a CC email, and a BCC email. You'll definitely need to include a to, but these two, CC and BCC, are optional. From there, you can write the title of your, or the subject of your email, and then bring in your email itself. Come back to that email itself, but before I get to that, do notice that you can also include the field names so that each of the pieces of data that you're sending are personal and dynamic based on who's receiving that email. So for example, I have payments remaining here as a field. And if I want to include that in the subject line of the email, I can. So I can send an email to this person and it's going to say 1 in place of payments remaining because we have 1 payment remaining for this person. In fact, let me go ahead in all records and make sure that I have another email that will be sent out. So in order to get that, I need to adjust the payment date for this to be 30 days or more from today in the past. So let me go ahead and make this 6/1/2020. And as soon as I do that, now we have 2 people who will be showing up in payment due. One of them owes 1 payment, one of them owes 2 payments. Okay. Now, lastly, I like to write a nice email and actually show off some good stuff. And this is the new thing that Airtable has allowed us to do recently, which is get some really cool HTML formatting inside of this Sendgrid email. Now, there are a number of ways that you can get some great HTML code for your email, but one way, since you're already using Sendgrid, is to use their little designer. So in order to get here, what I've done is I've clicked on my Sendgrid design library, and I just started to create a design email. Now, inside of this, if I were to go back in and edit it, you'll see that I can do a lot of fun things, change the font around, change the size, bold, italics, all of that stuff. And the best part about this is when I click in here, I get this nice drag and drop, template here as I'm building this out. Once I'm satisfied with the way that this is coming out, then I can go into edit the module HTML. And this opens up a nice HTML code that I can then copy. And by going back into Airtable, I can just paste this into my block. Now, one thing I will need to do here, though, is make sure to change anything where I wanted to include that dynamic information. So, for example, if I wanted to address this email to first name, I would need to make sure to match that field exactly as it is in Airtable. So first name, I need to replace it with a squiggly bracket, first name, and this is case sensitive, so make sure to match that case, and spacing and all of those things. Now that this is done, though, we can go ahead and take a look at how this email will send, and you'll see that it's going to send 2 different emails if I were to click send. The first one is going to Gareth, and inside of the subject, you'll see that it says 1 payment left. And remember that that information comes right here where it's grabbing that 1 payment left. And the second email is going to go to Phineas. That is right here, the second record. And in Phineas's case, he has 2 payments left, which is what's showing up for him. And so the email itself is going to be the same in both cases because we didn't put any other dynamic fields other than name inside of those. But you can always get a little preview before you send out your emails. One other thing to note is that because we're looking at the payment email, and because in this view we are filtering only where the payment is due, we're only sending 2 emails. It's not going out to our whole list. So this is a great way to make sure that you're sending a subsection of your full list the information. And that's it. From there, once I click send, that's going to be sent from Sendgrid, from my email through Sendgrid, and get sent out to the appropriate email addresses. Now, as I said, in this case, I used my email address both times, so they'll both come to me, but that's it. Before you do, it's going to make sure that you're not spamming because we need to be very careful about the way that we send email. But once you've read that and confirmed that you're in compliance, that's it. And your emails are out and you're all good to go. As always, I hope you found that to be incredibly helpful. If you did and you'd like to learn more, we've put together a lot of resources on our website. We offer a free Airtable crash course that will be delivered to your inbox and get you up to speed quickly and easily with Airtable. And if you're looking for something more complex, we do offer hourly consulting and courses and full-blown development. So swing on by and let us know how we can help you further. Look forward to hearing from you soon.